Welcome, sisters and brothers. This evening is really a celebration of 50 years of the African Union. 50 years ago, African countries came to this place here and they decided to establish the organization of the African Union. So the dream started 50 years ago here in Addis Ababa. The dream is still there of African unity. We are not there yet, but the dream will stay in our hearts. And because of that occasion, we thought that our annual event should be really held here in the African Union to remind everybody with the importance of the African Union for the African people. We need the African Union. We need the dream to continue and to move forward. The true African development only started after the collapse of Berlin Wall. Check the data, check history. You'll see our development really only started when the superpower lost interest in their client. One remark also we found out of the data is that the countries at the top are actually opening a gap on the countries at the bottom. That's well done for the countries at the top, but also concerning that we have some countries behind. We have 6 countries or so in Africa where the standard of governance went behind over the last 12 years. That's not acceptable. We need to pay attention to that. And we need also some support, peer support from countries who find a way to move forward to help their neighbors who really need to find a way, the way forward. We need economic integration in Africa. That is what is going to create the jobs and create the scale for our people. Please, we need to generate the political will to really move forward together.
Having spent 2 decades of my life campaigning on global health and hunger and human rights, he's like, guys, forget about all that, okay? It's the stuff that you do on transparency in the extractive industry. That's so much more important, guys, okay? And I go, Mo, food security, vaccinations, they're kind of important, especially if you can't afford them. Guys, if you get the other thing right, we can't afford them, okay? We asked African citizens how do they want us to work, and transparency was very important to them. So thank you, and everybody knows who this man is. They can see right through him. He himself is a truly transparent character, and that's probably the best thing I could leave you with. It's an absolute honor and a privilege to serve this family, to serve this continent at this moment of transformation. And thank you, thank you, thank you for letting us in. Thank you.
The decision to establish the Organization of African Unity came out of the will of Africa to determine its own destiny. I'm proud to say that we have come a long way in this regard. The growing strength of the African Union can be attributed to ownership of these decisions that matter to most Africans. But it is insofar as the organization was concerned, and insofar as the organization was built for vision of unity, the next 50 years must now be about driving solidarity and harmony within each of our countries as well as between them.
We must remember that our continent is often talked about as if we are poor and we are desperate. Let's remind the world that Africa actually is the richest continent on this planet. We are the richest continent underneath the ground, and sometimes that is why we are the poorest continent above the ground, right? Because of what is called the resource curse. But right now, this is a moment of optimism, at a moment of major challenge. The crisis of climate change is impacting on our continent the most, and worse is yet to come. But we can turn the crisis of climate change into an opportunity, because God has blessed our continent with some of the best resources we can think in terms of renewable energy. We can power jobs as well as address climate and as well as address the range of social issues, but we can only do it if government and business work closer together.
We must have a skills revolution on this continent. Not just sending a few hundreds here and there, but a real skills revolution. Looking at education, higher education, research, science and technology, innovation, and all the technical skills that are needed. But I don't think this should be the responsibility only of families or of governments. I think the private sector should step in as well. The philanthropists like yourself and many others should step in, because this revolution must be a true revolution.
After decades of false starts and political and economic experiments gone wrong, Africa of late has begun to turn the corner in its endeavors to cast off this seemingly perennial image of despondency. Well, much has changed in the last decade and a half that many in the Western media had found it compelling to refer to Africa as the rising continent.
Buri samba nobe, ya mom lule. Buri samba nobe, ya mom lule. Buri samba nobe, ya mom lule. Hini wo impirima, kuyendo mayendo fayendo nade. Wo impirima, fumayendo mayendo.